Chairman Cole.
Thank you. I know we're under time constraints here, so I just want to begin by thanking the chairman for bringing this excellent piece of policy here. I think I can assure my friends if it passes the House, it will get taken up in the Senate. It'd be very hard for Republican Senate to leave something like this there. I'm not sympathetic to the idea that we should wait to crisis to develop. If you actually have a good idea that we actually both agree on, that we have Democrats and Republicans that have passed together over and over, Democrats quite often not paying for it when they passed it because it was a good idea. The idea was it was going to stimulate enough economic growth. We ought to just do that. It's permanent in the policy. I think you both have made the point very well about how waiting around last year was a disincentive to economic growth. We've got an opportunity to correct that here. I'd love to have more time and debate my friend from New York because we remember the past a little differently. I recall President Clinton never submitted a balanced budget and never got one until he had a Republican Congress for 6 years. To sort of suggest that he balanced the budget, I think misstates what happened. And with all due respect, President Bush didn't leave $1 trillion deficit. That's counting the whole fiscal year 2009, 3/4 of which is under Obama, and had some things in it which may be worthy, but this President Obama added S-chip, President Obama added the stimulus, President Obama recommended that we expand in Afghanistan. Those are not things that belong on the Bush record. I'm not saying he didn't leave a deficit. I will. I'll certainly give my friend a chance to reply because I want to give him a chance to reply to all of it. And then with all due respect, you know, when our friends were in the majority, the deficit went up every single year, whether it was a Democratic or Republican president. It's come down every single year since there's been a Republican Congress. So to suggest that we somehow aren't serious about deficit reduction, just not the case. Now, sometimes I would actually agree the two sides work, you know, check one another in ways that contribute to that deficit reduction. Had a process somewhat similar to that during the Clinton years. But the reality is, I think we've been pretty serious about deficit reduction. I think that's one of the arguments we're having with the president right now on the Budget Control Act. With all due respect, I want to give my friend
Mr. Cole, I think we both agree that 2 unpaid-for wars occurred during the Bush administration that mightily contribute to the deficit of our country. We also had an expansion of the Medicare Part D that added mightily to the deficit of our country. But I believe the adage, when you're explaining, you're losing, so I'll leave it at that.
Oh, well, okay, and someday you'll tell me the war that was paid for in American history. That's the way you finance wars rule. You know,
I'm not arguing that point. I'm just making the point that it did add to the nation's debt. That's the point I'm making. So it's not the abstract. It actually happened.
well, no, I agree with that. Absolutely does. War always adds to a nation's debt. So it's as if these were somehow different than Vietnam fought when Democrats were there, or First or Second World War, or something. That's just
Putting the war aside,
the
Medicare
American
Part D.
Revolution. American Revolution created an.
Putting the war aside, Medicare Part D.
Well, which has saved a lot more money than it cost, you know. But again, I didn't start it. You started it. But I enjoy the debate, and I enjoy my friend, and he makes good points as always. I just have a different point of view, and I didn't want to leave that uncorrected. But again, thank my friend for bringing this important legislation. Yield back.
Chairman yields back his time.